Well, I was just told to start maybe in 2 minutes, but we'll start chatting. I'm from Hong Kong IED. Is anybody else here from Hong Kong IED? What about Hong Kong U? I did my master's degree and my PhD at Hong Kong U. And CUHK? So many. Wow, okay. And what about Baptist U? Okay. Only one from Baptist U? Gaio? All right, I'll go ahead. Actually, let's start with that. All right, so I'll go ahead and get into what I wanted to talk about. Maybe these two words, maybe you don't think they're antagonistic, but I want to try to convince you that maybe they are antagonistic. That there's different types of protest, different types of direct action, and that I think maybe, things are moving very quickly here, right? I mean, things will be happening tonight, and then things will be happening this weekend. And what I wanted to do was just try to have a conversation about the history of some of these ideas, and what these ideas mean for different people. And I really am hoping to have a discussion, and the PowerPoint is very small, maybe 50 words, 100 words, it's very small. I really do want us to try to talk about these issues. Let's move on. Okay, so on language, I will try to speak slow. I was an English teacher for a long time, so I know when you guys look lost, so I'll try to speak slow. Any volunteer translators, though? Oh, right there, okay. Let's go ahead and move on. Okay, like I said, so I've been in Hong Kong for about 4 years. So far as I've seen, I'm one of the only white guys giving a talk here. And I'll bring that up in a second. Actually, maybe we can kind of start this off as like the first discussion, because I was at CUHK on Monday, and I was uncomfortable being there. Actually, my wife doesn't want me here. She says, basically this is your fight, not my fight, and that actually people like me being here makes things more complicated. Maybe people think I'm CIA, things like this, right? And of course, in Beijing, that's what they're trying to say, right? Actually, one of my friends, Dan Garnett, yesterday was accused of working with the US government. It's crazy stuff. But let me start by asking you guys, do you think it's helpful or not helpful for people like me to become involved in things like this? Why do you say helpful?
I think it can make these events international.
Okay. So international, let more people know. You can just say it and I'll say it back. Okay, so you're saying the more people, the better. It doesn't matter which people, just more, better. And you agree with this? Does anybody disagree? Does anybody think maybe Guilo being in this maybe doesn't help? Because I'll tell you, even though I have very strong feelings about 6-4 Tiananmen, I've never been to the march. Because I feel that maybe that would be weird if I went there, that this is, I don't know, but we can talk about this more later. Actually, go back one more. I also wanted to just kind of talk about my own experience with protest when I was in college. And this is something I have been telling my students. We've been having discussions about this at Hong Kong IED. And one thing that most people say first when I ask them what is their feeling about the student boycott is they say, what is it going to change? What is it going to change? Is Xi Jinping going to say, oh, they're right, and then tomorrow change? And my answer is not really an answer, it's a story. And the story is this. In 2003, I saw, back up even a little bit further. In 2001, I saw the scariest thing of my life, which was America after 9/11. Everybody around me wanted blood, they wanted war. People were talking crazy talk, I thought. My president was talking crazy talk. And then within 2 years, it had turned into a plan to invade Iraq, who had nothing to do with 9/11. At the time, it was difficult to speak because if you did say the war was a bad idea, what do you think they would call us? Not communist, but unpatriotic. Unpatriotic. They would say, our soldiers are about to go into battle and you don't love your country. And so many people were quiet. Many people agreed with me that this was a very bad idea. So, but in January 2003, I drove 8 hours to Washington, D.C. I drove 8 hours to Washington, D.C. At this point, George Bush had already decided to invade Iraq. Iraq was going to be invaded. There was nothing I could do about this. I showed up in Washington with 100,000 other people. He also ignored the other 99,999. We were all ignored. In London, at about the same time, I think more than 1 million people showed up. So 8 hours there, 8 hours driving back for a war that we couldn't stop. And instead of having an answer to this, I just kind of put it back as a question. Was that important for me to be there? To protest a war that was stupid, that we are dealing with today. As I'm talking, we are bombing Iraq again, almost 15 years later. And my only answer is, I think yes. It was the right thing to do. I had to be there. And I think of this the same way you think of this. It's not always about, can you do the change? It's about, you have to make a stand. You know right, you know wrong. You see people around you being quiet. You know they want to speak. You know they're afraid to speak. But you have to stand up. You have to do something, even if it doesn't do what you want it to do. And so again, it's not an answer, it's a feeling. So that's my own experience. And at the end of this, we can chat about this if you want. It's something that was a very big experience in my life when I was about 21 years old. So about your age. Go to the next one. Okay, just as something to help you guys, I like to put together little libraries. I'm a professor, I like to read. I think there's a lot of very good literature on what you guys are doing, and so I tried to put about 10 or 15 books together. They're all PDFs, so you can read them on your iPad, you can read them on your screen. Yeah, just scan that QR code, and maybe at the end of this I'll put this back up so you can do it, but I think you'll find this very helpful. Next one. Okay, so now for me to stop talking for a few minutes. Let's together try to define, so just with the people around you, we see these words being used a lot. How would you define them? And this is not a trick question. There's not a right answer, and aha, I got you. You know, it's just, what do you think when you hear these words? What do you think other people think when they hear these words? And does the word have a special meaning to you? So how about I'll give you guys about 5 minutes just to talk to the people around you about the differences between these words and how you would define them, and then we'll share them with everybody else. Does that sound okay? All right, so about 5 minutes.
大家要為咗小組咁樣，每個人幾個人咁樣啦，700個人啊，700個人 ，7 or 8 people maybe。咁我傾咩叫直接行動，咩叫公民不服從、不合作，第三個係抗議。You want to talk about the 3 words, 3 key words? Yeah. 你哋點定義？你哋點定義咩叫直接行動、公民不服從同埋抗議？幾個人咁樣啦 ，OK？
One more minute. We'll talk about them together. All right. Let's turn back around.
大家轉翻嚟啦，我哋一齊傾啊，一齊傾，係。
You want them to talk, right? Yeah. Give them the mic. Okay. You'll give them the mic. Okay. So who wants to try to give their answer? What is protest? Protest. And you have to answer it in a way that shows that maybe it's a little bit different from the other ones. So, what's protest?
邊個舉手？主動啲。咩要講咩解釋啊？咩係抗議？抗議係咩意思？快啲，時間有限。
Okay.
Our group think that protest maybe it's a kind of large demonstration, and it shows to the media that we have a large number of people disagree with this one.
Okay.
And maybe civil disobedience, you're just asking protest, right?
Yeah, just protest.
Okay, protest, yes. We think in this, maybe it's just shown to the media and exposed to the society that we disagree of this thing.
Okay. Now let's think about this though.
According to my view, protest means if you have some different opinion or you have different view to see the society, you can raise your voice. If you are not agree with someone, you can raise your voice. This can call protest.
Okay. Now, I want us to think about power for a minute and how power works. So you protest, and CY Long, is he here or up there? He's up there? No, he's nowhere. You tried to find him and you ran away, right? He's everywhere, nowhere. Okay. Well, I think wolf are like that, right? They're invisible. Okay, but think about this in terms of power, okay? So you're a leader, and many of you go outside, you have the signs. Is it a communication? What are you doing with the protest? Are you just asking, saying, please? Okay.
Protest is speaking truth to power.
Okay, they're speaking truth to power. But you're still asking power, right? You're saying, please do this or please don't do that. Or maybe not please. Please is very kind. You're saying, do this or don't do that. But you're making demands. You're negotiating with power, right? Let's move to the second one, civil disobedience. Who wants to try to define this? Civil disobedience.
邊個要定義呢個公民不合作？用廣東話都得啦，我幫你翻譯都 OK。Yeah，你哋講廣東話，我幫佢喺度 translate for you，呢個意思。
講咩啊？我唔記得咗。
講下唔使怕醜啦，係。
係咩？I think it is rather like some unlawful acts that we add to the protest, but it may not cause direct results to affect the hegemony or something like that.
Okay, so you said it's an illegal action. Can protest be civil disobedience? Part of it. Tomorrow, no permit for this. Is that civil disobedience? It is, because you don't have permission to be here. You are now breaking the law, and you're making a choice to break the law. Okay, I think you guys probably understand civil disobedience the most. I think direct action, though, this one might be the most difficult. First up, who's heard of direct action before today?
直接行動有聽過啲舉手？
No, okay. Nobody?
直接行動冇聽過咩？
I just heard from someone last night. She told me it's like you want the wolf. You want the wolf to see us, right? So you need to go just like tonight's action. You have to go straight to his house and say, "I will stay here until you come out to see me." So it is a direct action to force him to come out to see you. So you should speak to the citizens because we should be what we rule here. Yeah.
Can you actually go to 2 ahead? Yeah. There, yeah. This is my assessment. It's this. All civil disobedience is protest and direct action. Almost all direct action is protest. Some is civil disobedience. And not all protests are direct action or civil disobedience. Let me just talk about this direct action for a minute, because I think this is a difficult idea. Who here has seen pictures of the protest about the World Trade Organization? Never? People dress in funny costumes and they get arrested, the black bloc, things like this. Gandhi actually talked about his work in terms of direct action. The best definition I can give you of direct action is this, is you are making a reality. You're not asking. Protest is asking, right? Sometimes it's civil disobedience because sometimes it is illegal. But direct action is making a reality. So, in other words, you want to meet CY Long? Let's go meet CY Long, right? For me, one of the best examples of direct action I have ever seen was when Occupy Central organized a poll this summer. Because the Hong Kong government, I see why, would not ask you. They would not ask you. They did not want to know what you had to say. So Occupy Central said, all right, fine, we'll do it ourselves. We will go to the people and ask them what they want. That is direct action. There was a vote. Did the vote go to what, did it have the meaning that we wanted it to have? Maybe not necessarily. And when I look forward into the future, that's one thing I would love to see, is after the LegCo vote, 2017, go ask the people, who do you want to be chief executive? Forget what they're doing. What they're doing, it's all rigged, right? But you go out and ask them, who do you want to be chief executive? Show what the nomination process is. I also just wanted to, because we have half an hour. One thing I guess I'm a little bit concerned of and why I wanted to do this talk is that I think these ideas are being blurred together a lot. And sometimes I'm hearing, it sounds like disruption for the sake of disruption. Let's occupy Central. Okay, why? Because then we shut Central down. And then, well, then it's shut down. And then, and so this is really to a question I'll ask you guys in a minute of, is this actually creating a reality that you want? Is a shutdown Central? Where does that take us, right? It is civil disobedience, but I don't think all civil disobedience is equal. I would also say, I think one thing about civil disobedience, it should be directed at unjust laws. Can you guys give me good examples of like historical civil disobedience? Or who knows who invented the word civil disobedience? Who? Gandhi borrowed it from an American. Who knows? Who is the American in about 1860 invented this term, civil disobedience? It was Henry David Thoreau. Henry David Thoreau. At this time, America was invading Mexico, and he says, I don't support this. And so he decided, I'm not going to pay tax, because my money is going to pay for that. I'm not going to pay for this. I think this is unjust. What about later in America? So I'm from the South. Do you guys know when I say the South what I mean? Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi. Martin Luther King used civil disobedience and direct action. Can anybody give me examples of what Martin Luther King did? Or at least what that movement did? It wasn't all Martin Luther King. Who knows Rosa Parks? You're smiling. Do you know Rosa Parks? Okay.
A black woman who disobeyed the bus law. He refused to give up his seat to white people.
Okay. So he's saying Rosa Parks was a black woman. She was trying to go home after work one day. She was very tired. And this part of America, at this time, black people sit at the back of the bus. People like me sit at the front of the bus. Also in restaurants, this is the black side, this is the white side. This is the black school, this is the white school. Black hospital, white hospital. So, and what did you say she did again? So she
refused to give up his seat.
She sat down. She's like, I want to sit in the front seat. I don't want to go all the way to the back. So let me ask you this. What was this? Was this protest? Was this direct action? Or was this civil disobedience? You say direct action, okay? Why do you say direct action?
Because he should have not break laws, so I think this is.
It was against the law. That's right.
Is it alone? I don't know.
You don't know. The answer is actually, you're right. It was direct action. Was it also civil disobedience? Was it protest? Huh?
More than protest.
It was more than protest. Can you have a one-person protest? No? Why do you say yes? Because he has the right, okay? I think there can be one-person protest. On Friday, I was at Hong Kong U, and I got my first yellow pen. And I walked around, and people would stare at me. They knew what it meant. No other Guilo had it. And it stood for something. It was a one-person protest. Later that night, I met a friend. I worked to Long Kwai Fong. Everybody was, what is this? What is this? It was a one-person statement, okay? Right? Let me move, go to the final one. Okay, so I'm gonna stop lecturing, and I want us to have more talks. And my first question is, and let's just do question 1 first. What is the reality you want to create? Why are you here? And if we don't, can you still hear me again? If we know that Xi Jinping is not going to change his mind tomorrow, why are we still here? Why are we still here? What do we want to see? What are we trying to do? So let's do the same thing again. Maybe 5 minutes, talk to the people around you. What is the reality that you want to create in Hong Kong? Why are we here? 5 minutes.
都係為個小組。其實咧直接行動啲目的係要造成事實，唔係求人啊，唔係求人啊你改變啊，係造成事實。咁佢問呢個問題講緊，你哋企5分鐘，你哋喺呢邊坐喺呢邊，你要造成咩事實啊？
All right. How about we start sharing? You can stay in your circle. Stay in your circle if you want to. Can you tell me what... I want you to tell us what you're talking about. Yeah. But not just your opinions. Tell us what you guys have been talking about, the whole group. No, you.
我哋其實係想講，我哋講緊今次呢個行動，我哋係想做到對香港人有一個提升意識提升啊，有一個醒覺，係唔想再做係要反對而家政改一啲不公平嘅方案啦，亦都係咯，令到大家個點啊嚇？ 係咯，意識提高呢一類嘅行動，我最想做到呢樣嘢，而唔係話反抗共產黨、反對中國呢啲，係啊。
So, okay, if the translation was good, and I trust he's a great translator, you're talking about, you want to raise the political consciousness of Hong Kong. Can I give a small suggestion that I have noticed as, I'm still an outsider with this, I've watched, on Monday, I was at Hong Kong IED, and in the morning I taught a class with 600 students. Not one student had a ribbon. Not one. 2 teachers, not 1 student. And then later, I was very sad. Oh, this thing has died. And then I went to CUHK. Like, wow! Where I'm going with this is this. I think these little ribbons are incredibly powerful. You're talking about raising political consciousness. I think you have so much support in this city. And if you could get your supporters, all they have to do is wear a ribbon. Starting with all the universities, your classmates who support you but aren't here, ask them to wear the ribbons, but that would also mean some of you maybe have to stay back at the universities to distribute ribbons and flyers. At Hong Kong IED, where I am, all we see are the black signs. That's it, just black signs, no students. There's no face. There's no one to talk to. And then yesterday, actually, I had another class with these same freshmen. And I asked them to describe what's going on here. Do you know what they said? Even though no yellow ribbons, they all said, brave. The students here are very brave. And so if we're talking about consciousness, and I think just little things go, this is a little act of resistance. Little acts of resistance, but that's just my opinion. Who else wants to share what you guys talked about? You want to translate what I said?
No need. They understand English.
Our group would like to share our opinions on the reality. What is the reality of occupying Central would be? And I think there are mainly two areas. The first one is like what just that other student says. We would like to raise the political awareness not only to our friends and families in Hong Kong, but also even into mainland China, or raise it into an issue in the international level, so that everyone in the world can know that what's going on in Hong Kong, and more people can come out and support. And my groupmate even said that what we are doing may be very little, like throwing a stone in a lake, but we hope to like create a ripple effect, like after throwing the stone in the lake, then everybody else will know. And another area is that we would like to fight for the true universal suffrage. Not only now the government is saying that we can have one people, one vote, but I think this is not enough. I think we are fighting for a true election, which we, apart from the equal rights to vote, we have to have equal rights to nominate and equal rights to be nominated as the CE.
There's so much information there. Thank you very much. But also, thank you. That was really great what you were saying too. Maybe because I'm a professor, I like to pick apart words. When you say awareness, what do you mean? To be devil's advocate, do you think anybody in Hong Kong doesn't know the issue?
I think everybody knows the issue, what's going on in Hong Kong, and the attitude of the central people government towards Hong Kong. But I think not many people really know that why we are boycotting our classes, why we are having a strike. Maybe some, they may think that even my parents, they may think that we are just doing something to call out our opinions, or just like making a fuss about that. But I think they don't like that question. They don't really know what our ultimate goal is.
Okay. So when you say awareness, you think that should be the awareness, that they should know the ultimate goal. Can I ask, is there a second goal? Like if we can't have universal suffrage in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, what then? What reality are we trying to make? If Xi Jinping says, like, what did you say? I can't hear you. Right? What is the reality? What do we want people having a certain discussion in Hong Kong? Talking about things in a certain way? Okay. I guess where I'm coming from with this is, as I was saying, I think there's a lot of support, but sometimes people think, oh, it's helpless and things like this, but what is the message? Like, how do you want people talking about this? When we're saying awareness, when your parents talk, okay, that's the way. When your parents talk about what you're doing, how do you want them to talk about it? Because that would be creating a reality, right?
I think at least they will hold the same view as us, like having hope that Hong Kong can change, because they have experienced a lot, more than us about the democracy development in Hong Kong, and they think that democracy in Hong Kong is doomed to fail. So I think at least they can also have the belief that Hong Kong can improve.
You know, on that idea, I saw a poll today, and it was of people your age, 65 or 75% are in favor of what you guys are doing, are very pro-democracy, but then as age goes up, support goes down. And maybe what you guys could think of is some way to communicate to society, you know what, this isn't about you. This isn't about our parents, this is about us. By the time we're your age, we will have what you didn't have. We will wait this out. We will fight this out. Even if it takes 5 years, 10 years, we will not give up. And kind of communicate those messages, which also I think shows realism, right? That you understand maybe things will not change right away, but this is a long, long struggle, right? Okay, thank you so much, by the way. We only have about 5 more minutes, and I think other people are coming for another talk. Who else wanted to share what you guys talked about? What did you guys talk about over here?
We just thought that we want to let more people know. We want to let more people to care about these issues. Not only like watch TV, watch the news every day, but they're just being pessimistic about the future of Hong Kong. And also, we want to on Monday. We know that some people from overseas they come and support the protest in Hong Kong, and I think what we do is also influencing the people in other countries, and like Malaysia or like in Singapore or whatever. And like although we don't really have that much people, maybe we don't have that influence, but we can let them know that we can do something. We are students, but we still can have our opinion voiced out and to tell the society that what we want. We want to have our own future that we want. And we also thought that in Hong Kong, we are very lucky to have the right to do this. And in China, we can't, if you go out there, like 10 people, you will be caught immediately. And I think if we have the right in Hong Kong, why don't we use the right to voice out our opinions rather than just being a refrigerator, not saying anything? And I think it's very important to do, to not to be silenced, just to say something, say what we want.
I love what you said at the end. Don't be a yeah. I like that. Don't be a refrigerator. Don't be. I think it would be great to have message targeting people who you think care, but they're trying not to care. They're like, but you know that no, they do care. But I also like the first thing you said, which is that maybe this is something more international. Maybe the reality being created is not just in Hong Kong. Maybe you are inspiring other students, and other students have inspired you, and this is something much, much larger than tomorrow. Let's do one more before we go. Okay. I think we have to do the mobile one.
I think all the generation and all the member of society should support to the student. If we will not do anything today, our next generation will ask us what you were doing that time when these things were going on. You were just sitting at home and you were just watching the TV and news. Why you didn't take any action? If our next generation will ask us, we will be ashamed on us, definitely. So don't regret in future. Do action right now.
Thank you. Okay, maybe is there one more person who really has something they really want to share?
I think what the reality we really want is to let the people to know more about what democracy we are looking for, because I think that even though there are many people know what they are looking for, there are many people being influenced by others, no matter they are opposing or supporting this action. And I think that that may be a populism if they really don't really know what they are looking for, and maybe after that maybe at this time this look appealing to them, and then they get what they wanted, but after that they realize that this is not really what they want, and then they throw it away. So the society will not really get growth or maybe it would be a little bit messy and yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think people need to really rethink on what they want. I support that we need a democratic society, but I think people need to get prepared for it before we can get there. Otherwise.
And I think that is part of direct action too. Is you are here, the discussions you have, the decisions you guys make, that does produce the kind of democracy that you want. Like I was saying, the Occupy Central poll this summer, that was creating the democracy that you say you want to build. And you think, this is what it looks like. We ask people, we take a referendum to the people. But I'll end on this before I got off, because I think other people are here for something else. I was so inspired by you guys on Monday. Like very, very inspired. You guys are the new face of the democracy movement in Hong Kong. And for people like me who came 4 years ago, sometimes what you see on the protest for 7-1 and 6-4, some of it's not always a great face, like things like the colonial flag, they very controversial. But I was telling everyone I know, come to Tamar, talk to these kids, talk to them, have conversations. They are so smart, right? And it's so inspiring. And you guys are the new face. And you are a very good face at that. So I will leave. Thank you very much for the conversation. And remember, if you have the QR scanner on your phone, this opens my library of PDF books. Thank you very much.